Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Homeschooling Philippines. So, today we'll have another teen talk. And if you have been following us, you may have noticed that we have been interviewing teens about their homeschooling life, especially now that most of our students are forced into homeschooling. We at Homeschooling Philippines would like to help you by sharing our experiences so you can make sure that your children will have the opportunity to live their dreams. And I am delighted to have this teen today as he shares his homeschooling adventure. He and his brother is the reason why Catholic Filipino Academy Homeschool came into life. So please welcome Francis Sanchez. Francis, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing very well.
Okay, that's great to hear. Before we continue, no, can you tell us a little more about yourself for the benefit of our viewer, like your age, your family, anything that you would like to share to our viewers?
Hello, so I'm Francis Sanchez, and I'm homeschooling under Catholic Filipino Academy. I'm in grade 9 right now. And what else about me? I'm the son of the founder of Catholic Filipino Academy. My dad wanted to create a school for his kids where they had like a bit more freedom and um, they were able to learn better and spend more time with family. I think those were the goals that he wanted for our education.
That's right. So the founders of Catholic Filipino Academy Homeschool, Bo Sanchez and Miss Maro Sanchez. And but right now, Francis, do you have any special project? Are you doing something outside homeschooling?
Outside homeschooling, um, hmm,
Any
I
ministry
would
work?
okay. I would say I serve at youth home, which is the it's a youth it's a Christian youth organization, and I sing there. I'm like a worship leader. Recently it's been a bit difficult for us because of COVID, so we've had to transition online, and
Mm-hmm.
so uh, we had to work on recording at home, like having mics and having frame checks and everything. And right now, I think we've adjusted very well, and we've learned to make the most out of recording because I feel like recording pre-recorded music has its own advantages compared to having live music on a
That's
stage.
right.
Because when it's pre-recorded, you can edit it. If you have a
Uh-huh.
mistake, it's reshoot. So there are pros and cons to it, but I'm very glad because I think recording is a skill, and it's very different from live singing, and it's something that I'm very grateful to have learned this 2020.
That's great. And there are a lot of new skills to be learned or was learned because of pandemic, no? There are apps, a lot of apps for recording, no? So it's a great, although there is pandemic, but there are still opportunities to learn.
That's
But
very
but right now, before we continue with our interview, may I know where you are right now and how is the situation in your area? I mean, in relation to COVID, are you allowed to go out, or uh, seen any friends recently or relatives?
I think the age limit is 15 and above, and I'm 15, so I'm allowed to go out. But my parents don't really let me go out
Yeah.
unless it's for because I think I wouldn't let my child also go out
Yes.
this time. But unless it's for like going to the dentist or going to the derma for important stuff. Yeah.
Okay. And we have experienced a lot of challenges last year. The pandemic is still here. However, we claim that 2021 won. No, they say it's not 2021, but 2021. No, times are tough, but still, there are many blessings to be thankful for. So, Francis, what are you grateful for today?
I'm very grateful for my family and for my friends. Even though I don't get to see them in real life, I know that they're always here for me. Like when they reply to me and when they text and when we call. I'm very grateful to have friends that listen it's very hard to come by good listeners these days. Well, in my experience, um, and I just enjoy being friends with a good listener because they make you feel very appreciated, and I'm glad to know people like that.
That's great to hear. And may I ask, what age have you started homeschooling?
I've been homeschooled since the beginning. I've never went to regular school, so nursery all the way to now, junior high school.
Nursery,
Yeah.
that's around 5 years old. Is that right?
Mm.
Okay. And I know that, of course, it was not your decision since you were still young when you started. But how is homeschooling so far for you? When
Schedule.
you started, you mentioned you were nursery. So how
Mhm.
was homeschooling like during those early years?
Okay, okay. In the early years, I was with my mom the whole time, and she was guiding me through each and every subject. But I think what's good about homeschooling is if you decide to continue through it, through high school or even late elementary, um, the parents kind of start to make you more independent, and they kind of like distance themselves from teaching you. That's why we have math teachers and science teachers for JHS and senior high school also.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if I was in regular school, I wouldn't have been this independent, like with my time management skills and with my, because in regular school, they give you the schedule, they give you everything,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of just have to go along with it. Of course, there's assignments and stuff, but with homeschooling, you kind of have to decide what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. There are guidelines and deadlines, but you have a lot more creative control over your schedule,
That's
and
right.
yes, it can be a little scary. Like, oh no, how am I gonna do this?
That's right.
I wish somebody would help me, but you can always ask your parents. You can always ask other homeschoolers for help, and that's what I do. I always ask my friends for help.
And if someone asks you what homeschooling is, what is your definition of homeschooling? I mean, from a teen's perspective, what is homeschooling for you, Francis?
Homeschooling is just studying at home outside the regular system. So you have a lot more, I guess you could say you have a lot more free time and you have a lot more options to pursue what you're passionate about or study things outside of school. Like when I was growing up in elementary, I was always doing so many different clubs and I was signing up for everything. Even outside CFA, I was doing a lot of extracurricular activities. And I really think it exposed me to a lot of different types of people. And yeah, it helped me see many different types of people from many different social backgrounds. And I think it was helpful in shaping my values and stuff.
It's like homeschooling allows you the freedom to step off the highway of learning and take a more scenic route along a dirt road. Parang ganun, no? And being the son of the founder of Catholic Filipino Academy Homeschool, Brother Bo Sanchez and Sis Maru, do you get a lot of questions from other teens on what homeschooling is? Marami bang nagtatanong?
Yes, that's true. That does happen. Like before, for CFA Home Base, that's our newsletter. I used to have a question and answer article thing, and a lot of kids would ask me, "What's how do you? I'm a new homeschooler. How do you do this? What is it like? How do I, study at home without classmates to help me and stuff?" And I enjoy helping. I enjoy answering questions because I feel qualified because I've been doing this since the beginning.
That's
uh,
right.
yeah, so it's fun.
So, if some of your non homeschooling friends ask you, what do you do all day? What do you tell them?
um I study in the morning. In the morning I like to sing and I like to exercise, and I like to, and like when I'm not studying, I'm always I try to learn things outside of school. Like I'm always watching video essays or reading, or I'm learning about singing. I'm learning about video editing because I'm really into graphic design. That's another thing that I've learned this quarantine. I was always putting it off, like, oh, I'll just learn graphic design later because I have a lot of time. But I realized I should probably start now because the sooner you start,
Yeah.
the more years you'll have in your life to enjoy the skill. And yeah, I
Okay.
just I'm just very interested in a lot of things, and I have a lot of skills that I'm trying to get good at. And yeah,
Well, that's the flexibility of homeschool. No, you can learn a lot of things that you want, especially if you know how to handle your schedule.
yes,
But
that's
Francis, can we peek into your life? I mean, what does your daily schedule looks like? Can you describe? I mean, in the morning, what do you do until in the evening?
okay. I'm not the best at time management compared to my friends. I think it's something that I've been really struggling with, especially this quarantine,
Mm-hmm.
because I have so much time. Well, especially during the start, I had so much time. It's like, oh, what do I do? But each day is a little bit different for me. But generally, in the morning, I do exercises, so I feel good the whole day. I feel my posture is good. And then it also helps with my singing because when your everything is working and aligned, you can sing better. So yeah, after that, I do a vocal warm up and then I sing because I usually have a project every week, whether it's church or it's just a personal cover or it's for a theater org that I'm in. And so yeah, and after that I start studying, I start writing my portfolios, I start doing whatever. And then yeah, that's how my day goes. I'm not very rigid with my schedule. I'd like to be a little more structured. I'm still working on it, but I'm making a lot of improvements in my time management.
Okay. So when you were young, I mean, during the elementary or nursery homeschooling, I believe you do have a specific school time at home.
Yes.
But when you transition into junior high school, so it depends on the mood, it depends on the subjects. How do
No,
you?
not the not the mood. This pandemic has kind of disrupted
Mm-hmm.
my schedule because before
Okay.
I'd always be going out, like I'd
Mm-hmm.
have a club or I'd have a theater. I had to go to theater rehearsals or to church, and I was always going out. And then suddenly I had all this time, and I was like, oh no, what do I do with it? Usually I would study sandwich. I would find study time sandwich in between the times that I go outside
Mm-hmm.
for some. But now I'm just at home. I kind of have had to try out different schedules. Sometimes, like I try studying in the morning, and then another month I was like, no, I'll try studying in the afternoon. Or so currently, I've been studying in the afternoon and using the morning to do my vocal warm ups and my exercising and reading and stuff like that.
Okay. So they say that homeschooling in high school gives you time freedom. I mean, is this
Yes.
true? Is this true for everyone? Is it, or is it true only for you? I mean, basing from your experience with your friends, is this true?
I
Is this statement true for all? What do you think?
I think it depends on your curriculum or if you're an independent homeschooler, if you're what your parents want you to do, what you want yourself to do. I think that's also part of the beauty of homeschooling is that it's different for everybody. Everybody, because there's so many choices
Yeah.
for what you can do, and yeah, I'd say it depends.
Okay.
Some people,
And
yeah.
mhm.
Wait, sorry. For some people, it might be even more overwhelming because they chose so many things to do and they have a lot of, they have a lot in their curriculum. But for others, it might be very easy, very light.
Mhm, mhm, that's right. But as a homeschooler, do you feel that you are being well prepared for the future?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I used to lack or felt like I wasn't competent enough in was my communication skills and my like social skills because I would rarely like hang out with peers before I like started joining clubs in elementary. And so I think it depends. For some homeschoolers, they're really awkward and they don't know, oh, how do I talk to other people? Others, it's the opposite, like they're social butterflies. And
Yeah.
I think it depends on if you're a new homeschooler, I suggest that you sign up for a lot of clubs
Mm-hmm.
and surround yourself with. That's the beauty. That's another beauty of homeschooling. You get to choose your friends and you get to choose what you sign up for. You're not just spending every day with the same set of kids in school. Yeah.
That's right. And speaking of clubs, in Catholic Filipino Academy Homeschool, we have a lot of clubs. So what clubs have you signed up since you
Mm.
started?
Yeah, in elementary, um, I did art club, I
Uh-huh.
did arts and crafts, and then I did painting. Uh, and the and then I did karate also. I reached up to a blue belt.
Wow.
Did a lot of tournaments and stuff. I was never really good at it. Like I would never get medals or anything. But it was very fun because it's fun punching people. um, and then I did choir also. And then, yeah, right now, I don't have any clubs in CFA aside from one. I'm doing the math tutorial because I really need to work on my math skills. And then the rest of my clubs are outside of CFA,
Which is basically more into theater or arts,
performing arts and
performing
singing
arts.
like that.
Okay. And if someone asks you, what is your favorite thing about homeschooling? I mean, what is awesome about homeschooling? So, what do you tell them?
Okay. Well, for me, what was awesome was I got to spend a lot of time with my family. And yes, there were times when I fought a lot with my mom or my brother. But I think homeschooling was able to, uh, I think I would have stayed fighting with my mom if I were in regular school. But because I was forced to interact with her every day, I kind of had to learn to apologize, learn to make up, learn to uh, you know, have good relationship, emotional intelligence and stuff.
You
Yeah,
don't have
yes. Sorry, what
it's
were you saying?
it's kind of it's like forcing you and your mom to have a good relationship, right?
I was Yeah, I think that's what I love. I'm so happy that I'm close with my family. Like, I hear stories from my friends, like, oh, I don't know what to do. I can't talk to my mom. I'm not close with them. I'm not close with my siblings. And I'm like, oh, that's so sad because I was always close with my brother and my mom, and I couldn't ever imagine being distant from them.
That's right. And that's one good thing about homeschooling as well that I experienced. I mean, I can talk about anything about I can my son can talk to me anything, any topic at all. So having a good relationship, I mean, homeschooling will somehow like force you to have a good relationship with your son or with your daughter. So that's really awesome about homeschooling. But in your experience, are there any drawbacks to homeschooling, or what is the least favorite thing about homeschooling,
Uh,
if there's any?
I think if you are an extrovert, you have to work more. You have to work harder than introverts. Not in studies. You have to work harder to find a social life because it's so easy to make friends in regular school because you see them every day and you're bound to find someone who's like you. But in homeschool, you have to try. You have to, Mom, can I sign up for this karate club? Mom, can I do this? Can I go to this thing? Can I go to this youth church thing? I want to meet people my age and I want to make friends.
Okay, so if you are an extrovert, then you need to work harder, not on studies, but on how to make
Yeah.
friends, on the socialization. area?
Yeah. Or even if you're an introvert, I don't. If you're an introvert, please don't like isolate yourself. Find people who I'm sure. I'm sure. Even if you're an introvert, you have a need to uh, meet people who are like you or who are your age. You know.
Okay, so we mentioned earlier that homeschooling gives you the flexibility that you need. So, in your case, can you give us an example about how you're able to have a flexible schedule and do other stuff aside from your performing arts hobby
Mm,
or project?
okay. My before COVID, pre-COVID, my family would always travel a lot, and I those are some of my favorite memories. I'm very fortunate to be in a family that is able to afford traveling a lot, and I'm very grateful for that. It's a privilege, like being able to see other parts of the world, and I think I don't think I could have gone on all those trips if I were in regular school or even just local trips. Like a lot of the times we would stay in Baguio for a long time or we'd go to the beach, you know. And there's so many beautiful places in the Philippines.
So, what do you do when you travel and you have a, let's say, performance-based assessment that you need to submit? So, do you bring your books? How do you do it?
Oh. I think it depends on how long the trip is. If it's a very long trip, I need to bring my books. But if it's like short, then I'm like, no, I'll just take a break and then I'll deal with it when I get back home.
Okay. But sometimes other students are having a hard time adapting to homeschooling, especially the students who came from traditional schools. So, what advice can you give them?
Um, hmm, I
We have a lot of students right now who are kind of forced into homeschooling. So, for the newbies, what tips or advice can you give them?
Yeah, that's true. I've met a lot of people in CFA who are new to all of this. And I think a good thing to remember is that even though you don't have like a teacher, uh, like a, or no, you do, but like you don't see them every day, you shouldn't be afraid to ask. Like you should text your advisor, text your math teacher, text your mom, tell your mom if she's in the same house. Um, I think a lot of the times I'm afraid to ask for help because I don't want people to think that I'm dumb or I'm not smart or you know. And I think it takes a lot of you need to be humble. You can't be prideful. You have to have the humility to ask for help when you need help.
That's right. And even we adults also ask for help. And if, like for me, if my son don't know the answer and if he asks me and I don't know the answer, then there's Google, right?
Yeah,
There's internet. And then you can
that's
ask other people.
that's very true. Google is really helpful for me. I've learned so many things from watching video essays or just reading articles. I'm really interested. Like I'm mostly like my skills are mostly in the arts and stuff, but I'm also very interested in science and and history, and that's because of the internet. I've read a lot about pre-colonial history and about animals and the animal kingdom, and I'm very interested in it. And I don't think I would have been this interested in stuff like this if it wasn't for the internet and for articles and YouTube videos and educational stuff. Yeah.
That's right. But since we have, especially in grade 7, there are a lot of newbies, first time to homeschool. So, what tips can you share to those students who struggle with meeting deadlines?
Oh,
Because
meeting.
we mentioned that even though that we are homeschooling, we do have guidelines and we do have deadlines. So, those students who struggle with meeting the deadlines, so what tips can you share? Any practical tips that you can share to other students?
I think And this can apply to many other things. You have to show people what you're doing. Like, for example, if you're working on a very long paper and it's 500 words and you're only on 10 words, a lot of the times I don't want to show people that I'm having a hard time or that I'm struggling to finish it. And so instead, I'm like, no, I can do this on my own. And I'm like, oh, how can I do this? And then I tell my mom like, oh, I'm still writing the paper. You're still writing the paper? What? It's almost the deadline. And then, um, wait, sorry, my brain is loading. You're still writing the paper? I thought, you know, you've already been working on it for 5 days. What are you doing? And I'm like, oh, it's just taking a while. And then I don't want to show her how my progress because I'm scared that she'll think that I'm really slow, and that I've only done 10 words, And so I think a good thing to do is to show your work to people and to let them know where you are in your progress, because the more you keep it a secret, the longer it will take you to submit whatever you're working on, I feel like. Yeah.
And in the part of the parents, I think you should always check as well, especially those newbies, those newcomers in homeschooling. Parents, you need to check as well the work of your students. No, if if you ask and they say that they are done, you need to check as well. It's not, how do you say it? Um, it's not enough that you ask your children if they are done, but you have to check. Based from my experience, parents, you have to check the work of your students, of your children. It's not enough that they would say yes, I'm done, but you have to really check and see. Let's say if they need to submit it in Google Classroom, check the Google Classroom. But Francis, what if some students are not motivated to learn? I mean, any productivity tips that you can share, especially now during this quarantine?
Oh.
Some students have this issue. I mean, me, as I'm not motivated to learn, I'm just lazy to read a book, especially Araling Panlipunan. So any productivity tips that you can share?
Speaking of AP, I used to really, really hate AP. And I hate history because, like, oh, so many dates. Why do I have to do this? And then I'd always, like, AP was always, all the other subjects, my grades were here, and AP was just down here. And I think I had to get myself motivated to do it. I had to learn to love it or find a way to appreciate it, because a lot of the time people just say, "Oh, just do it. Just, go through it. Who cares how you feel about the thing you're doing?" I don't think that's very good advice. You have to love what you're doing, and so you have to find a way to make yourself love what you're doing. Like for me, I went outside of AP. I started reading other books about Philippine history or world history, and watching a lot of video essays, like I've said before. And it was like, oh, this is actually really interesting. And there are a lot of TV shows that I watch, and they're like, oh, I remember, and that's like about history. And so now, when I open AP, uh, I think to all of the things that I've learned on the internet or through books, and now I'm a little more motivated because I kind of um, I didn't just do it. I found a way to love what I'm doing. And I think you get more work done when you're happy and when you enjoy the thing that you're doing.
And I think traveling also helps, or
Mm.
not really traveling outside the Philippines, but traveling or going out of your four corners of your house or your room, right? I mean, prior to pandemic, homeschoolers can do that anytime they want. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. There's this quote. I forgot who said it, but he said that humans are like plants. Sometimes you need to just sit in direct sunlight, and I think that's really good advice. When I don't want to do any work, I just leave my desk, I open the window, and I just breathe in, breathe out, let the sun, although it can be hard to do that when it's rainy season, but it's I think humans were meant to be outside and
Yes.
in our nature to feel refreshed after going outside.
Yes, we also need that. But since we are in I mean in this situation we are in quarantine. So there are a lot of distractions at home. So how do you
That's true.
keep focused on your schoolwork at home?
Oh.
What do you do so that, let's say, you have this deadline to meet and you need to submit it by this week? So how do you keep focus on your schoolwork?
A lot of the times I try to hide my phone away or I lock it somewhere because that's one of my biggest distractions. It's so easy to just, pick it up and then
Yeah,
scroll and then you forget that you have to do something. And so that's what I do. That's my main distraction, my phone. I just lock it away somewhere or I put it somewhere where it's hard to find and then like, "Oh no, where did I put my phone?" And then I just forget about it. Yeah.
that's great. So your distraction is your phone. Only one distraction for you.
That's usually the biggest distraction. It wastes a lot of time because there's so much on your phone. There's
Yes,
Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok. You can see so many videos. You can do it's the ultimate time waster. So much media to consume. Yeah.
that's right. So some teens would fall trap into procrastination because of this distractions. So for
Yeah.
you, you hide it.
Yeah, I hide away my phone because I know that if I just leave it next to me, I'm just gonna grab it out of habit. But if it's not there, and when you reach for it, you're like, oh wait, it's not here. I remember that I should not be using my phone.
That's right. And you mentioned about having a good relationship with your parents earlier. Why do you think it is important for parents to prioritize relationship with their teens, especially in this homeschooling setup?
Hmm. Now that they are farther away from their friends, like usually you only see your parents during the day, so it's important that because you're the only people they talk to, you should prioritize your relationship with them.
Okay. And we mentioned about clubs, about Catholic Filipino Academy Homeschool. What do you think is the importance of having a homeschool community? Well, we say that no one can homeschool alone. So, based from your experience, what do you think is the importance of having a community?
Yes, that's true. Nobody can homeschool alone. A lot of people, when they think of homeschooling, like, oh, wait, how do you have any friends? How do you're just alone at home all the time? No, you need a homeschooling community. And I think I think that's the point. The importance of having a homeschooling community is it's a really, it's really great because for the parents get help for how how they can homeschool their kids better, and for the kids they get to talk to other kids their age and they get to play and they get to hang out, and it's just good for everybody.
And then parents often wonder on socialization
Mhm.
while homeschooling. So when you were younger, how do you play with your friends? And now in high school, what is socialization for you? I mean, prior to pandemic, how did you balance your academic area with socialization aside from your clubs?
Hmm. Aside from my clubs, I think the well I also had Wednesday class for junior high school. If you don't know, junior high school has every Wednesday they have a math teacher and a science teacher come and to help you with your studies, and that's what it's for. But it was there with the intention of having like a social life for the high school students. And I've made so many good friends in Wednesday class, and I miss them a lot, and I can't wait to hang out with them soon. Yeah.
Okay. And so prior to pandemic, do you ever get negative comments when people find out that you're homeschooling? I mean, any funny comment that you encountered?
Okay. Um, Actually, it's pretty good. They're like, "Oh, you're homeschooled? That's so interesting." And then they're like, "Oh, I wish I was homeschooled because I don't like waking up so early every morning and going on the bus, and I don't like my classmates. They're so annoying." And it's usually that they usually say that, I wish I was homeschooled. Like maybe I should try it even for a year. And I don't think you should be ashamed that you're a homeschooler, that you're not the ordinary, because most of the time people will, like, if you tell them, people are interested and they'll start asking you questions. And I think, I don't know, I've never been bullied, or I've never been, but then again, that's my experience. I don't know if anyone else has been,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's been pretty good. If
Okay.
most people.
And you mentioned earlier about becoming an independent learner, especially when you reach the junior high school age. So, how do you become one? I mean, um, homeschoolers, students from the traditional school transitioning into homeschooling, how do they become an independent learner?
Well, a lot of people don't like reading, so a lot of the time, like me, I do read, but it's not something that's natural in me. I have to try very hard to read books outside of like the curriculum and stuff, because I think reading is important, and I love stories. Um, but if you really, everybody has their own learning style, and for me, I'm a very visual person. So a lot of the times I turn to YouTube, I turn to things like Masterclass and Skillshare and online learning stuff, because if you really have trouble like getting through your subjects just by reading it alone, it's good to get help outside. Like for example, if you're studying polynomials or something, you should search on YouTube tutorials and stuff. Especially because if you are a new homeschooler, you're used to having a teacher in front of you. So I'm sure that will help you. That's my suggestion: online tutorials and things like that.
And you also mentioned earlier about um, you're allowed to travel, or you have this opportunity to travel. Um, do you have any unforgettable road school experience?
Okay. So I have a friend group from elementary in CFA, and their parents are also friends with each other, with my parents also, and we decided to see. I forgot what beach it was, but it was in the Philippines, and it was like sea turtles, and we got to see the sea turtles there because they were hatching and they were leaving to go into the sea, and so we got to see
Hmm.
those. And I think that's one of the most unforgettable experiences, because I was also with my friends, and it was fun.
I think is that Palawan? Can you recall?
Not sure. It was in the sun. I'm not sure. It
Okay.
was, yeah. Another thing was going to Japan. I love Japan, and I love the food there. I love the arts there, and it's very cool. And yeah, I want to go back to Japan after COVID is over.
Hopefully we can all travel after this pandemic. So no need to ask permission from your teacher or from the principal that you need to travel. So you can just bring your books, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you think is the important life skills that are essentials for teenagers to know?
To explore, like explore what you're interested in, explore what are your beliefs, like explore, like you kind of look for your identity because you're getting older, and you realize what do I really believe? What do I want? What do I want to do? What am I good at? And I, hmm, and a lot of the times you can get paranoid, like, oh, what am I gonna do for the future? And you get worried about that. And I feel like my advice for teenagers is that they learn how to enjoy the present moment and to just enjoy being young. Have you watched the Pixar movie Soul? It's the newest one.
Not yet.
Yeah. So in the story, I won't spoil anything important, but in the story, there's this musician, and he has this gig, and it's he's performing with someone famous, and it's like, oh, this is all I've wanted all my life. I've been working towards this, and then he does the gig, and
Uh-huh.
then he feels empty. He's like, huh, I thought that would be better. I thought I would be like in the stars right now. I did the gig. I did the thing I've been working for my whole life. And then he asks his friend, I thought this would be, I thought I would be happy finally now that I've reached my goals and I've accomplished what I needed to accomplish. Ever since I was a teenager, I wanted this. And then his friend says that his friend tells him that he hasn't been truly living, because living isn't getting what you want. Living isn't like uh, getting the dream job. Or living isn't your goals. Living is you in the present moment and enjoying the journey, enjoying every step of the way, enjoying the little things, washing dishes, reading a book, the sunsets. Um, and I feel like people need to live in the present more because, um, yeah, it's important.
I agree with you. I mean, enjoy the journey and live the present moment. And
Yeah.
what I like about what you said is you enjoy doing everything, let's say washing the dishes. So parents would like would like to hear that. I mean, cleaning your room and enjoying the present moment. And I think I need to watch that movie, Francis.
It's very, very good.
And I'm happy that Francis is part of the homeschooling book project that we are doing. And this project is a collaboration with homeschooling teens. And this is to be launched on National Homeschool Day. And this will be the first book about homeschool written by teens for teens. So we're very excited for this project. And I hope you can get a copy of this. This book will help teens how to navigate homeschool in high school. It will provide practical information to have a successful homeschool experience. So, Francis, would you like to invite our viewers to get a copy of our book?
Yes, please get a copy of her book. um, Teacher Needs invited me to write for this book, and I was really excited because she seemed very passionate about what she was talking about. Because there really is no book like this where teens talk to other teens about homeschooling, and I feel like um, when you think of homeschooling, most of the spotlight is for children in elementary, and I think being a teenager and being a homeschooler has its own sets set of challenges that are separate from being in elementary.
That's
And
right.
so I'm really, really excited for it. I'm excited for you to read it. All of us worked very hard on it, and especially teacher Nida, who organized all of this. And I'm really, really excited for you to read it.
Well, thank you, Francis, for your time. And guys, you can get more of his story through our book. So this will be released on National Homeschool Day. This is in March. If you want to pre-order the book, just message us. So thank you once again, Francis. And parents, remember that there is no way to mess up homeschooling as long as you instill love for God and help your children build their relationship with God. They will be far ahead of other students if this is in place. So see you on the next episode and God bless everyone. Thank you, Francis.
Thank you so much.